Hi everybody. I've been through the homework for the normalization and I'm very proud of everyone. Everyone did really well. A lot of you went second normal form, which is fine, but I want to show you the third normal form and what it could be with this freelance table. I left the form open here. So here's what I suggest. Logically, if you look at these things up here, these things sort of all relate to each other. A couple of you had a really good idea about separating company from the person, but I'm choosing to keep them together. I figure this is a freelance form that might result in repeat hiring. So let's say I have a company that is interested in me. What I want to do is separate the information about the company from the services that they're interested in, because one time they might want web work, the next time they might want some design or something like that. So basically everything that I see here I would separate. Okay, now some people might go so far as to have additional comments be in its own table to relate to this section right here. But let me show you third normal form first, because we're doing inner joins this week and it'll be a good lesson to go through. So I'm inside PHP MyAdmin, as you can see, and I'm going to select Designer. This is where we can create diagrams and understand how things relate to each other. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over this. This is my my relationship menu. So what I can do is do Create Table. And initially, what I'm going to do is go right inside here and create something called Skills. My skills should be pretty easy because I think I'm just going to have two fields in them. I think I'm going to have the skill itself and the value. So this is going to be a way to ensure that our tables don't have any empty sets. So I'm going to call this skills ID. It'll be an integer. And we'll do auto increment primary, which is kind of where we need to be with this. And then I'm going to have the skill itself. Now, again, I was very lenient with the grading because, there's many ways you can argue on how you do it. It depends on your perception of how this would work. What I'm really looking for, or was looking for in the homework, was you making the tables relate to each other by having a foreign key, or a borrowed key, however you want to put it. It's foreign if it's an InnoDB and you have the constraints set. That's the big difference. But as long as there's a number that relates from the skills to the clients, I'm in pretty good shape with you guys. I think you're doing well. So what I'm going to do is make a three-table system. The comments are actually going to go right I'm going to actually keep them to this section up here because they relate. And you might say, well, you have just these values here. Why don't you have website programming multimedia and database? Because that's for the person who enters the form. It's not for me. I'll know that Java is part of programming. So what I'm going to do is insert some values. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and browse. Right now it's empty. And I'm just going to go in and add a few things. I'll do site design, site redesign. I won't do the whole thing to bore you, but I am going to just do the website. And you can just learn from that so we don't take up too much time. So it's online store marketing and maintenance. Okay, good. So I will insert this new row, continue insertion with 3 rows. And I'll do I've already forgot what they were. Short-term memory loss. Online store, marketing, and maintenance. Online store, marketing, and we'll do 1 row, and we'll do maintenance. Let's do maintenance. Okay, so now I have several numbers here, and now I'll go to my freelance table. Now I already have the freelance table from this section right here. So I'm going to actually export just this table. Actually, this would export all the rows of that table. So let's go ahead and just grab this, and I'm going to just copy and paste this and go back to my homework database, at which point I'm going to create the table freelance. And this is going to be, I'm going to remove that skills ID there. This is going to be my, whoops, that was weird. Let me click go. Let's see what we've got here. If I go to this section over here, we can go to state country. Let's make sure this is all perfect. Oh, we don't need the database on that. That's just a comment anyway. So create table freelance, a symbol name, your position 384. Oh, that's because I had this not null here. And I'm just going to drop this. This would be second normal form. So now we have this structure. Okay, so this is freelance. And you see a skills ID here. And what I want to do is edit this. And we're going to drop the skills table. So if we go to structure, we can click on skills ID and drop. This would be a bad database plan with the way I have my skills table, because you can only have one skill. that's an issue. So this was the residual for when I had my second normal form description. But regardless, now I have name, email, URL. Some people might be tempted to call it to break up state and country. I'm just going to leave it for now. This is about the relationships and third normal form. So now we have this, and I even have a record in here. Okay, so let's create a holder table now. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my database homework, and we will create a holder table. So we'll call this client holder, and we're going to give it 2 fields, and this will be the client ID, and this will be the skills ID. And after that, we're going to create our relationships. So there's not going to be any primary key here. We're going to save it. And now what I'm going to do is go into the homework and click on designer. And now we have these primary keys for skill. Remember, just 2 tables, or just 2 fields in that table, and we have this. So what we can do next is create a foreign key. So what I can do is create a relationship. And we're going to select the reference key, which is this. I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to select this right here. So we're going to create a relationship. And there's a foreign index that we can add on this section. See, I have an error on the missing columns here. We'll go ahead and fix that. So if I go to skills and I go to structure here, I need these to be, actually this was the skills table, I need to go to the holder table. And we'll go to structure, and these need to be indexed. So we're going to add an index, and we're going to add an index to this guy too. Okay, and now I can go to the relations table, relation view like this, and create constraints. So we'll call this holder, something like that. And basically what I'm going to do is create a column, database homework, and the 4 constraints would be, we want client ID, we're going to go to freelance, and that ID. So now we have 1 constraint there. That means in my holder constraint, I have the client ID off client holder in the homework database relating to the freelance table in the ID column. So I'll save that. Now I'm going to add another constraint, and this is going to be, we can call this holder client, and I can call this holder skill. Okay, and so we're going to go skills ID on this, and then we'll look for the homework database, and we'll look for the skills table, and we'll go to skills ID there. And now I have that saved. So now I have a relationship, and you see that the constraints aren't going to let me delete anything because it's third normal form. So one of the issues here is if someone deletes anything in the client holder table, we'll lose the connection. So let's look at designer and take a good look at what we see here. And we can move this around a little bit, but you see that the holder table has the IDs connected to this and this, which is really neat. So the next step, because this is third normal form, is to show you what the data might hold. And then I might focus on breaking apart state and country, working internally, optimizing the database, maybe making comments its own table. So I can have the skills ID relate to the comments table as well. Because this if I have a recurring business relationship with this guy, this would need to be separate. Plus, know this, we're getting to the point in the course where we're dealing with PHP and MySQL, and the fact is when someone comes into this table, I'm going to want to check to see if he's already listed, and if he is, I'll take the same key from his current information, I'll update the current information, and then put the ID with the new skills that he wants. So that's where we'd have to focus on the comments table. That's in the future, but this will start to make sense once I start putting even more data in there. So like these are the skills table, right? So let's go back to homework and let's go to the freelance table. This is me. So now when I go back to my client holder table, let's insert. So let's say that client ID me wants skills ID 2, and then I want skills ID 4. Okay, browse. Oops, sorry, we've got to make sure we make the insertion. But now when I look at this data, I have this. So when I go back to homework, I can use what was taught this week at inner join to get the values that I need. So let's say I wanted to write, I could do an inner